He's charming, he's polite, he'll compliment your shoes, and quietly steal your entire life. This is the talented Mr. Ripley, a sun-drenched psychological thriller dressed like a European vacation. But behind the boats and jazz and linen shirts is a boy with no past, rehearsing his future in a mirror. His real talent? Impersonations so precise, it feels intimate. Tom Ripley doesn't just want love, he wants to matter, to be seen. And when being with someone doesn't get him there, he learns to become them instead. Because in his world, it's better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody. Welcome to Real Talk, where we spill the tea on movies and all the madness in between, with wit, sass, and zero sugarcoating. The Talented Mr. Ripley is a 1999 psychological thriller set in 1950s Italy, where the wine flows, the jazz swings, and identity is just an outfit away. Matt Damon plays Tom Ripley, a quiet nobody with a borrowed jacket and a gift for mimicry. When a wealthy shipbuilder mistakes him for a Princeton man, Tom gets offered the trip of a lifetime: sail to Italy and convince the wayward son, Dickie Greenleaf, to come home. And that is where the trouble begins. Dickie, played by Jude Law, is rich, radiant, and rotten with charm. He's living the sweet life in Montebello with his fiancée Marge, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, a poised, smart socialite with suspicious eyes and perfect posture. But Tom? He gets seduced, not just by Dickie, but by the lifestyle. The jazz, the money, the freedom. And slowly, Tom stops wanting to be with Dickie and starts wanting to be Dickie. What starts as admiration turns into obsession, deception, and yes, murder. But this isn't a whodunit. It's a how long can he hide it? The crime happens early. What keeps you hooked is the tension of performance. How close is Tom to being found out? How far will he go to keep the lie alive? It's Hitchcock 101. Show the crime. Then make us squirm as the criminal tries to stay one step ahead. Every close-up, every lingering silence, every camera angle that holds just a second too long. It's all tension. Even the sunshine feels shady. Now let's talk about Tom. He doesn't lie. He performs. He watches. He mirrors. And when the moment's right, he becomes. His flaw isn't malice. It's need. The desperate hunger to belong so badly that he'll become the version of a person who already has it. And that's what makes him dangerous. And also very human. Matt Damon plays him with this perfect mix of fear and softness. He gives us that boyish innocence. But you can still see the hunger behind the smile, the wound behind the charm, the loneliness tucked into every note on the piano. That vulnerability makes his monstrous choices feel human, not excused, but understood. And why do we root for him? Why do we secretly want him to get away with it? Because the film makes us complicit early on. We see Tom scraping by at the bottom, unnoticed, passed over, invisible. Then the story hands him a costume, and we want to see how far he can wear it. We feel his humiliations. We get the class envy. And when he slips into Dickie's silk shirts and strolls through jazz clubs like he belongs, a dark little part of us says, take it. There's a chilling moment on a train. Dickie's asleep, or pretending to be, and Tom tilts his head just so their reflections look like they're kissing. It's not love. It's rehearsed intimacy. Tom lays his head on Dickie's shoulder. Dickie wakes up like, what the hell? Why do you do that thing with your neck? You always do that. It's so spooky. Dickie calls it spooky because it crosses an intimacy boundary without ever saying a word. Dickie knows Tom's watching him. He's not alarmed. Yet. At this point, it's still cute, amusing, harmless, but that's the trap. Dickie Greenleaf is the son, born radiant, confident, rich, effortless. He's beautiful, indulgent, and selfish. The kind of charisma that burns everything around it. You hate him and kind of want to be him. He's the Nepo baby who has it all and doesn't even pretend to earn it. He collects people like he collects jazz records, plays them, loves them, drops them when bored. He knows Tom likes him, the way a fan likes a pop star. It flatters him. He treats Tom's attention like an ornament. Cute, useful, sometimes annoying, but never dangerous. His arrogance blinds him to the warning signs. That is what gets him killed. Dickie is a toxic privilege. He enjoys being desired, but refuses any responsibility for what that desire does. Remember the local Italian girl he got pregnant? She comes to him for help. He could have written a check. Instead, he shrugs her off, not because he can't help, but because he's selfish, cowardly, and emotionally incapable of stepping up. Cleaning up is someone else's job, usually his parents. They sent him to Italy in the first place to escape some incident on violence back in New York. Meanwhile, Tom sees the whole thing, and he seizes the opportunity. I know about her. I won't say a word. Dickie hears loyalty. Tom knows it's leverage. It's his way in, another thread in the web. And when he gets bored of Tom, you can be a little cloying, you know that? Ouch. Then comes the final blow. I'm tired of you. That's not just a goodbye. That's a death sentence. Because Tom doesn't do rejection. He can't survive being discarded. And when the golden ticket turns to walk away, when the fantasy starts slipping through his fingers, Tom decides, if I can't have you, I'll be you. Marge. She's polite, poised, and a quiet snob. The kind of person who smiles while drawing an invisible line you're absolutely not allowed to cross. Her judgment hides behind courtesy, but it's always there. You feel it. And when she talks about Dickie, she sums it up in one perfect line. It's like the sun shines on you, and then he forgets you, and it's very, very cold. Translation? When he looks at you, it feels like you're the only person in the world, and when he moves on, you're invisible again. But the fact is that this equation doesn't only apply to her, but to everyone surrounded him. Enter Freddy, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman in all his sleazy, snarky glory. Freddy is Dickie's kind of people. Rich, reckless, casually cruel. He belongs, and he knows instantly that Tom doesn't. Where Dickie offered warmth and ambiguity, Freddy brings judgment with a smirk. He knows the smell of money, and more importantly, the stink of someone faking it. When Tom meets Freddy at the bar, it's more than awkward, it's a social exorcism. Tom feels it, the cold shoulder, the sly digs, the exclusion. Unlike Dickie, Freddy doesn't romanticize Tom's mimicry. He laughs at it, calls it out, and that scene in the apartment? Dickie's already dead, Tom's pretending, and Freddy sniffs it out with one sharp line. I don't see Dickie in this house. In fact, the only thing that looks like Dickie is you. Translation? You're pretending to be Dickie, and it's creepy. Then there's Meredith, played by Cate Blanchett, serving Riviera chic with a touch of Predator. She smiles while stealing your spotlight and calls it charm. The cafe scene with Marge? Absolutely savage. She tells Marge, I don't know you, so I have no right. But Dickie loves you. I think you'll find he's on his way home to you. It reads like, I've got him, but I'm gracious enough to send him home. That's the kind of upper-class shade that cuts with a butter knife and leaves you bleeding anyway. By the end, Tom has survived it all. And somehow, we kind of want him to get away with it. Not because he's good, but because we've seen his hunger, his humiliation. And now, Dickie's father hands him a pile of money for being such a loyal friend. On the ship to Greece, Tom is with Peter, played by Jack Davenport, a man who finally accepts him. Someone Tom could actually have, not impersonate. But just when we think maybe Tom's done pretending, Meredith shows up. And Tom? He kisses her, not out of love, but calculation. Peter sees. And suddenly, the mask starts to slip. Back in their cabin, Peter confronts him, and Tom panics. I'm going to be stuck in the basement, aren't I? Terrible, and alone, and dark. And I've lied about who I am, and where I am, and now no one will ever find me. He's flashing back to the life he came from, the dingy basement apartment in New York. He's a nobody, poor, beneath everyone. That basement isn't just a room. It's a metaphor for his social position, below everyone, beneath the light. The fear isn't prison, it's irrelevance. Then he holds Peter from behind and says the line that breaks your heart. I always thought it would be better to be a fake somebody than a real nobody. But the tragedy? Peter could have loved the real him, and that's exactly why he has to go. We hear a muffled breath, a struggle, and then silence. Tom returns alone. That's the pattern. Love becomes a threat. Threat becomes paperwork. Paperwork becomes a wake. So when we rewind to the opening scene and hear Tom say, if I could just go back, if I could rub everything out, starting with myself. That's not just regret. That's annihilation. He's not saying, I wish I hadn't done it. He's saying, I wish I didn't exist, so I never could have done it. Tom doesn't just hate the crime, he hates the part of himself capable of doing it. The line sets up the whole movie. A man so deep in performance, he wants to delete the actor. The guilt? Already baked in. But the scariest part? He still doesn't take off the mask. Let's go back to one of the most electric scenes in the film, the Naples Jazz Club. Tom and Dickie jamming out to Tu vuoi fa l'americano. Dickie singing lead, Tom harmonizing, matching his rhythm, his energy, his vibe. It's playful, it's flirty, it's basically foreplay. And the song? A mockery about someone trying to act like something they're not. Sound familiar? Then later, Tom sings My Funny Valentine. Not to a crowd, to Dickie. Matt Damon nails it. Soft, breathy, raw, vulnerable. It's not just a song, it's a confession, without actually saying it out loud. He's saying, I love you, even the parts that don't love me back. And the worst part? Dickie laughs it off. Not cruelly, just dismissively, like it's nothing. But for Tom, it's everything. Casting is a masterclass. Damon gives Tom that soft, hungry kindness that lets you forgive him just long enough to be shocked. Jude Law is the son. He's beautiful and careless, and that carelessness is the knife's edge. Gwyneth, just being herself, plays Marge as polite pride with teeth. Kate Blanchett? She makes Meredith's every entrance a power move. Philip Seymour Hoffman? Unforgettable. Even in a few scenes, he punches through the screen. Fun fact, Matt learned piano for the role. Lost weight to show Tom's fragility. Jude Law gained weight, learned saxophone, and injured himself doing his own stunts. He originally didn't want to play a pretty boy, but the director convinced him. Good call. Oh, and Leonardo DiCaprio was considered for Ripley? Can you imagine? This film is gorgeous and cold, sensual, and suffocating. The score by Gabriel Yared? Not background noise. It breathes. John Seale's camera makes Italy look like heaven, with a body buried just out of frame. Shot across Italy, Positano, Ischia, Procida, Rome, Venice, every frame oozes heat and silk and secret. Even when the sun shines, you feel the chill. The camera lingers on Tom's face. He gets the emotional close-ups. The music swells for him. The filmmaking makes you empathize, even when you shouldn't. Only the opening scene was shot in New York. Italy gave them hell. Rain, clouds, constantly fighting the weather to make it look like a Mediterranean dream. But the mood? Worth it. The movie is a classic. This isn't just a thriller. It's surgical empathy. We're not supposed to like Tom, but we understand him. It's Hitchcockian. It's about what happens when the world keeps whispering, you don't matter, you don't belong, you don't exist. Until one day you snap and steal someone else's life. Tom Ripley isn't just a liar, he's a mirror. And when we look too long, we see how easy it is to become what we pretend to be. He doesn't take off the mask, because maybe now, the mask is him. Tom Ripley is the dark endpoint of the fake it till you make it fantasy. Fake it till you are it, protect it at all costs, and pray no one who actually sees the real you climbs aboard the same ship.